Man, it's those moments where you realize as you get older, your childhood heroes are getting older as well. But Mr. Akira Toriyama passed away at age 68 on March 1st, 2024. But the news wasn't made known to the public until yesterday, last night, March 7th, 2024. I had actually spent most of yesterday recording videos for my other channel. I did like 20 something videos, mostly about the Tyler Perry sister show. And I decided, you know what? Hey, I woke up early to do my work. I took a nice like 30-minute walk because it was actually in the 70s yesterday. So I'll just, pass out for a few hours. So I went to sleep around maybe 7:30, 8 o'clock, but I was a bit more exhausted than I thought. So I said, yeah, I'll wake up and then I'll just go to editing. I woke up at 12 o'clock on the dot, midnight. I turned on my TV when I rolled over to get some light in my room. And I go to YouTube to throw on some background noise while I went, to get my computer set up. And one of the first things I saw was "Thank you, Akira." Then I'm like, wait a minute. Is this like a new project or something? Is it his birthday or something? And then I kind of scrolled down and I saw some of the Dragon Ball YouTubers that I subscribed to years ago. I've been watching their content for years. And I saw "Rest in Peace, Akira" and "Thank you, Toriyama." No, this had to be some kind of hoax or something, but I'm like, no, I don't think they play about that. Like there are some people who would just do things for views, but others it's like, okay, these are some legitimate people and I know they wouldn't do this kind of crap. So then I went online and the news was probably made known not long after I had fallen asleep. And I'm on the East Coast, so because when I was out, I was out. But to wake up to that news, it just hurt because I'm 32, born in 1991. So, I grew up with, the likes of Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, Kids WB, Fox Box, Toonami, the list goes on. And over the past year or two, it's been really hard for me because Jason David Frank, we lost him, aka Tommy Oliver, aka the greatest Power Ranger. Then, of course, we lost Kevin Conroy, the definitive Batman for not just my generation, but generations that came after me. The voice of Batman from the animated series, the Arkham games, Justice League Unlimited, just so many other, pieces of DC media where Kevin Conroy's voice is the first that comes to mind, let's say when you're reading a Batman comic book. Even though this it's not a death, but you had Ash Ketchum and Pikachu leave the Pokemon anime after 20, plus years. He finally stepped down from the main character position. So it's like Power Rangers, Pokemon, Batman, and now the man who created Dragon Ball. Key pillars of my childhood are just gone. Thankfully, they left behind such great work that it can be rediscovered by people who, come even after, I'm gone from this world. But it's just, it just hits hard because Dragon Ball, honestly, I didn't like Dragon Ball growing up. It wasn't until 6th grade when I got into it because this is the part of the video where I just kind of give my own kind of history with Dragon Ball and how it's influenced me. So hopefully in the comments, you all have stories as well. But I'll tell you this, growing up, didn't have a lot of money for, frivolous things, if you will, like a lot of toys and stuff, because it got to the point where, my mom would be like, so do you want that Power Ranger Megazord or do you want to have, groceries for the house, that kind of thing. So whenever I got something like I really, cherished it. And I still had all my childhood toys. And I say had because back in like 2018, not long after I quit my job to do YouTube full time, I sold all my stuff from childhood on eBay and made pretty penny for that. So I was glad I held on to those things. But I still have books and whatnot, manga and stuff. But when it comes to just like toys and whatnot, that's gone. Because I had it all in a chest and thankfully kept them in decent condition to get some money. But regardless, for me, it was like Pokemon, outside of Power Rangers. Then in terms of like anime, it was Pokemon. I got into Digimon because I didn't like that at first. Pokemon was my thing. But then Digimon kind of caught my attention. Dragon Ball, I remember in elementary school, people were like, yo, man, you ought to check out Dragon Ball. Like, nah, because I'm thinking to myself, you know what? My mom, there's no way she'll let me get Pokemon cards and Dragon Ball stuff because, that's a bit too expensive. But one time in CVS, I remember I had sent my mom, what was it, after she had gotten off work and she said, I'm stopping by CVS, you want anything? Yeah, Mom, remember the last time I was in there and I saw those Pokemon books? It was manga, The Electric Tale of Pikachu. I was like, I want that because the ones I had gotten old because I had read them and took them everywhere. They got pretty banged up. She bought them and got home, but it turned out she had bought me Dragon Ball instead. It was like 4 chapters of the manga. And this was Dragon Ball Z Saiyan Saga. And I didn't read them. I just threw them to the side like, Ma, you messed up. I didn't like them. So then I want to say during the summer before 6th grade, I was channel surfing and came across a Dragon Ball Z marathon on Toonami. Because back then they would do those marathons on the weekend where it would just be hours of Dragon Ball. And the first scene that I ever saw in my life with Dragon Ball Z, when Android 17 crushed Dr. Gero's head. That was my very first scene that I saw from Dragon Ball. Which I'm like, wait a minute, what's this? And, I saw like 18 versus Vegeta and a couple more episodes. And then I think the next weekend I saw some of the Buu saga. Like, to me, Gohan going Super Saiyan 2 against Kibito during the World Tournament, that to me is more iconic than Gohan going Super Saiyan 2 against Cell, because I kind of came into Dragon Ball backwards where I didn't know the order of stuff. So those handful of Android Saga episodes, that's when I first got into the series. But then from there, the show had already gotten to like the Buu saga. So I was kind of engrossed in that stuff. So even though the Buu saga isn't as great as Cell or Frieza, I still have nostalgia for it because that's how I first got into it. Like when I say got into it, I mean in terms of like home media, because I was buying, or my mom was buying me things from the Buu saga onward, and that includes GT. So I had like seen all of GT before I even saw like the Saiyan saga or the Frieza saga. Yeah, I know it's weird, right? But the thing that hurts me about Toriyama's passing last month, because I'm doing well for myself. I do eBay and I do YouTube, and I said, I want to splurge on something because I've always wanted this since 6th grade when I first got into Dragon Ball, because I still have a collection of Beckett magazines. Back in college, I found a guy that had a bunch of them on sale on eBay. Like I bought them for like $20. And I mean, these are great condition Beckett magazines. I got all my Pokemon ones and then the Dragon Ball ones I bought. And I remember flipping through those magazines as a kid, in school. Some people would bring some to school and we would be looking through them. I remember some friends gave them to me because I stayed in the anime as we got older and they didn't. But I remember seeing like the Super Saiyan 3 Goku card from the Buu saga. I always wanted to pull it. I never did. I would always buy cards from CVS or Walmart, but I never pulled it. I remember pulling the Fat Buu card that was like an ultra rare from the set, but never Goku. And I said, I want this card because people love the holographic first edition Charizard, but I've always wanted the Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Last month, I paid a little over $1,000 for a graded copy of the card, 8.5. The guy was able to, bring it down from 1,600 because nobody was bidding on it. And I said, okay, this is the only time I'm really going to splurge on a card, but I've wanted this card for over 20 years. Then last week, I was on Amazon. Because I have the entire series on DVD, VHS, and whatnot, but I came across a DVD of Fusion The Last Saiyan, the Fusion Saga. Ironically enough, this was the very first VHS that my mom bought me. I remember in Walmart, because I had just gotten into the Dragon Ball, Cause in school after seeing the tsunami, I talked with my friends about it. Like, bro, we told you watch Dragon Ball is good. I told mom, can I get a VHS, something? Cause back in the day, VHS, if you remember, were like $10 give or take. And typically Dragon Ball, if you wanted the uncut, I didn't know there was an uncut. If you wanted the uncut, you would have to get the DVD. DVDs back then were $20 because VHSs were 10, DVDs were 20. My mom's like, look, you ain't got no DVD player. You get something. You only get one. Now, I didn't know what to do. Like in Walmart, there was like a whole row of just VHSs of Dragon Ball. And I'm like looking nervously. I didn't know because most, releases had 3 episodes on it. But then I came across a tape that had 4 and I said, okay, well, I can only pick one. I'll just pick this one. It was the Vegito fight against Buhan. 4 episodes. When base form Vegito fights Buhan, when Boo gets pissed off and almost destroys the universe or breaks through dimensions, when he uses the Super Ghost on Vegito, and then when it's the Incredible Fighting Candy, and then Vegito gets absorbed. I watched that tape so much. I never saw a Goku fight. I had only saw Vegito. I didn't know Vegito was like my introduction to all this stuff. Like I didn't know what a Super Saiyan was. Like even when Gohan said the phrase and went Super Saiyan 2 against Kibito, I didn't know what was going on. So I just like, wait, why did his hair turn yellow? So Vegito has nostalgia in my heart and is my favorite fusion because of this reason. Now, I bought the DVD because it was brand new, and I said, I'll buy this as a keepsake just to keep it. I'm not going to open it because obviously I got, the box set of the Boo Saga on DVD years ago, the orange box. I don't need to open this. I'll just have this as a keepsake because this will go alongside my Goku card. A card I've wanted since elementary, along with an unopened copy of the VHS that got me into the series, fully. And then I got the DVD in the mail Tuesday. So imagine my heartbreak when only a couple of days later I find out the man behind the series passed away. But the outpouring of love, and it's kind of ironic that today, the 8th, is, International Women's Day. Yet men across the globe, we're teared up because we lost our hero, so kind of ironic, huh? But Dragon Ball has meant a lot to me. Like back in the day, it wasn't like it is now, where the Marvel films, DC films, anime, you got to be if you want to be in the in crowd, you got to have the know-how. Back when I was growing up, it was unpopular to indulge in this kind of entertainment in like high school. Like I wasn't a nerd. People were cool to me because, I was pretty, chill and whatnot, relaxed, but I wasn't like in your face. I wasn't wearing like anime shirts and, going up to people like, yo, did you see the last episode? Like I would have a group of friends who would talk about it, but I wasn't like the stereotypical nerd, but I was like that, bookworm kind of thing. But I just knew like some things to keep to myself because, my interests weren't exactly the most popular ones. So then it wasn't until college where you meet people from, all walks of life. And it's like, oh man, you're into anime too. Yo, I got the DVD set. You want to watch it after class or something? That's different. But in high school, there's a lot of judgment. But to now see that, Goku and whatnot, they're all phenomenons in pop culture where it's like, yeah, when a Dragon Ball thing drops, everybody, is excited about it. But, Vegeta, I would say, is my favorite character. I know it's a bit cliche. It's kind of like growing up, Goku was your guy, but then Vegeta, when you get older, you understand Vegeta more. It's kind of like the age-old debate. It's like, hey, you know what? Growing up, the White Ranger was my favorite, but then you didn't realize it until you got older that the Green Ranger is more badass. And Vegeta, to me, I know he might not be the quote-unquote best example for people because of a role model status since he's a murderer and crap, but the fact that he is determined, doesn't give up, has some of the best monologues in anime history as far as I'm concerned. Have this dude standing on a random plateau by himself, especially if it's raining, he's going to drop some lines for you. But also another purchase I made close to the end of 2023, I think it was in January actually, I bought a graded 10 card of Vegeta, You Are Number One. I said, you know what? This is going to be like my motivation for 2024. I'm going to, just work hard and make the best of this year. And I'm like, who better to inspire me than good old Vegeta? So it's just interesting that I got several keepsakes that I bought recently to, kind of propel me through the year. And the man responsible for all this, just we lost him. And I'm not necessarily worried about the future of Dragon Ball because Toriyama has done way more than required. He did not have to step out of retirement from Dragon Ball during and create the Renaissance, because if I remember correctly, Dragon Ball Evolution, that live action film, was just so bad. He felt the need to come out of retirement to, kind of rekindle the reputation of the franchise, which led to Battle of Gods, Resurrection F, Dragon Ball Super, and so on. Now, I know I'm sorry. I'm freaking it up. I'm sorry. I don't want to be disrespectful. The company and the new person who's kind of like the head of Dragon Ball, especially like the manga and whatnot, Toriyama is not the head of the series anymore, but he's more so like an, kind of like a guide, if you will. Kind of like Whis, the angel, where he'll give tips and whatnot and like bullet points of where he wants the series to go. And he leaves it to the other people to, work on the series and whatnot. But I know the new, what's it called? Dragon Ball Daima, the one where Goku and everyone else turned to kids. Toriyama apparently had a large amount of input and he put work into the series. So I guess if we want to get his last work before he passed, this would definitely be the thing to pay attention to. And it's kind of ironic because the series got a lot of flack when it was announced, because for good reason. People were like, yo man, where's Super? We want more Super. We don't want this knockoff GT crap. And now it's like people are going to watch it because this was Toriyama's last project. So yeah, or possibly his last project. But in terms of what I do know from online searching and over the past several months, this was the last big thing that he apparently worked on. So now people are going to look at that series with a little more just a different perspective, because it's going to be more meaningful knowing this was the last thing Toriyama's hands touched in terms of Dragon Ball media. But man, it's tough. It really is tough to just look around and realize people are passing left and right, because he's touched so many lives with his work. And I mean, Dr. Slump and whatnot, I've never really gotten into that kind of stuff, but I do know that he worked on other media outside of Dragon Ball, but that's the one that most people know him for. And it's just been heartwarming to see people online sharing their thoughts, their Dragon Ball memories, how they got into the series. I've seen some uplifting stories of people who they say their lives were saved by Dragon Ball, or it's how I remember my dad or my grandfather or my brother or my friend, because we would connect over the series. And it's just it's a blessing when you are able to live a life and create something that is going to outlive you, inspire others. And Dragon Ball just taught so many great lessons about being kind, looking out for one another, never giving up, not standing by when evildoers are trying to get their way. And there are just so many things to take away from the series. And I don't know. It's just, it's tough. It really is a tough day. It really is. But let me know some of your thoughts on Dragon Ball in the comments. If you're ever a fan of Toriyama and his work ever did something positive for your life, just prayers and blessings to his family, because I believe, in like different cultures like Japan and whatnot, they have different customs, and some people are very private. So when he passed, the funeral had already happened, so the news being broken just yesterday caught everybody off guard. It really did. But hey, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.